Hi folks, well, I know it's been a long time since a video, but we have this wonderful thing every spring called the restless wind. That's a polite way to say it. So we've been blowed out for quite a while, and today's down to probably 10 miles an hour, so it's a day off. Anyway, this is round 2 of Shoshone, and I've been riding him outside in the Snaffle and working the junipers and the sagebrush, because finally found a use for a juniper. Anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm working on is getting him on the hindquarter, and he'll start to step across with his front end. And I'm also working on collection, because as I ask him to do something, he wants to go through the bridle. And where the patience part comes in is this is a 10-year-old. And as it turns out, almost everybody that's watching this has got an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old horse that's a dink. So you're getting to witness me trying to fix this one. And you got to understand that if this was a colt that he just started, it's real easy to put this on him. But like him, he's probably had 8 years of going through the bit or whatever they choose to do. So it takes a little bit to convince him to do something different. You got to understand, this was the wrong riding's put into him and the right riding's put into him. So I'm trying to put the right riding in after the fact because I like the horse. So I'm just going to work on. And when I turn towards the rail, I'd like you to notice the distance I am from the rail. That can be a bad practice if you don't stay far enough off the rail. All I want to do is that one little tiny bit of keeping that horse going through the bridle. I don't want to make the fence turning. When you do that, all it does is make them back up, and it's erratic. I want it smooth. So this is about the distance for me that works. Now, where I'm at on him is I start to roll my calf, and that means I'm asking him to turn around. He's starting to lighten up in the mouth, and that's a good deal. So as I get over here, you watch my left foot and my right shoulder. So here's the shoulder, roll the heel, and go the other way. This isn't about speed, this is about accuracy. So now it's going to be my left shoulder and my right calf. Not till you're ready. Good, he's ready. There's a nice turn. So I'm working on the shifting to the hindquarter, the front feet, and collection. Now what I've done is put him in what I call a schooling walk. This horse can really walk fast, so I've slowed him down so he can be more accurate with his feet and don't lose his mind. He's still trying to figure out the position for the head, and the half-breed will finish that. Now if he blows forward, I just help him out and bump him back and come in with that spur. Like that. I don't want him turning in a circle walking forward. I need him to step back and step across. He knows how to do it. He just got to turn it into a habit. So he's expecting the right hand turn, so we'll give him a left hand turn. Bump, bump. And every time I bump, I'm giving it back. Shoulder, calf. So if he keeps wanting to bleed out, I can do it walking backwards. And that helps him figure out what it is I'm after. Now we mentioned the backup the other day. And understand the cricket doesn't roll until I drop the reins and give him a break. So he's still balling his tongue on that bit. Well, that'll go away. So the backup, he's a very good example of why I take my legs off when I ask a horse to back up, because he has a tendency to drift, and then I can put my leg on him and straighten him out, and then take my legs off again. But he's starting to walk backwards off of my seat. Asking, legs off, dishing spine, tilted back, giving the rein every single chance I get. He just rolled the cricket on that step. Exhale, sit down. Asking, giving the rein, waiting for intentional steps. Now he's half again light as he was the other day. Now, as all these exercises work, you got to give them this break because you're doing repetitions. This is gymnastics. You got to let that neck drop down and relax a little bit because I'm rebuilding his muscles. Now, back to work. Slow him down. Have him think. Right shoulder. Roll the calf. Left leg. See how his nose comes up? He still feels like he has to push on the bit. Well, that's a matter of timing, my timing. I need to be there so that it sets up a block that he doesn't go through my hand. Now he's rolling the cricket. You can call it a half halt. Made it clean that time. Now, I hate to be redundant, but the thing you got to notice is you don't teach horses this by bringing their head around like this. That's not how you teach a horse to turn around in the hindquarter. That's how you teach them to go through the bit and get heavy on the forehand. Exhale. Roll the leg. Help him out a little bit. And he's getting lighter. Left shoulder. Right foot, getting lighter. They'll get tired of hitting their own legs. Now, so I've got the backup started and I've got the turnaround started. What I want to show you now is where I'm headed to next. Is I've showed you this, I've mentioned this before, but I just want to make sure it's clear. This is the center of the reins. This is a flat hand. If I want a right hand turn, I take my hand and offset the center. I have just offset the center. Now the right rein is shorter than the left rein. So now I check, open my shoulder, roll my calf in, and here's the most important part of this whole lesson. You got to know the math, okay? You need your hand to stay in front of the horn. If I do this with my right hand, I have now shortened the inside rein. The important thing to know is that when I pull back, after the right rein has made contact, the next thing that happens is the left rein makes contact. And that's what pulls the horse back. The right rein is bending the neck, the left rein is pulling the horse back. So here's center again, off center one hand, left inside rein is shorter than the outside rein. I'll be riding this way and then I'll ride two-handed off and on, whatever it takes until he gets comfortable with it. So now if you can see it, I don't know, the left rein is going to contact the corner of the mouth. The right rein is going to tighten up now, which puts him on the hindquarter, and that allows him to turn because we're going back to one-handed. When you ride Western, you ride one-handed when it's all over. Nice. Now there's a thing called a half halt that I really like, and what that means in the English world is that you're walking along and then you set your horse up to do, don't completely stop, just slow down again. Half of a halt. So that's a real a plus when you're doing this exercise, especially with older horses. I'm going to do the half halt right over there. Now I'm in the schooling walk, And I'm going to relax my spine a little bit when I raise my shoulder. Now watch, I'll exhale. That gives the horse time to slow down enough to get accurate with his feet. Walking. Now I do a half halt by exhaling. If you exhale real deep and sit down, they'll stop. But if you just exhale, they'll slow down. There's the cricket. That's what I've been waiting on. Left shoulder. Left hand. Exhale. Crossing over. Here's what you never, ever, ever do. You do not teach a horse to turn by doing this. That's the bank robber turn. We're not proud of that. Now, real quick, somebody asked me about the etiquette in the branding pen. Oh, and that reminds me, for the young aspiring cowboys and cowgirls that want to go to work on a big outfit, the lesson of the day is you may accidentally pull into some outfit and get hired on, and you might hear this sentence I'm about to tell you. They hand you a cavvy, and the cow boss or whoever's giving you the cavvy is usually a cow boss. And you'll say, from the cinch back is yours, and from the cinch forward is the ranch's. And what that means is that if you get caught jerking a horse's head off out of contempt, or if you're beating him over the head with your lariat because you don't know how to rope, you will be fired. Period. From the cinch back means you're responsible for keeping that horse's back clean and no sores and clean blankets and all of that goes with it. So when you hear that saying, that's what it means. From the cinch forward belongs to the outfit. Just remember that. Now the branding etiquette, what you got to know, because a lot of people that we talk to haven't been to a branding. And what you got to know, the first thing is it's geographical. How people brand. People brand differently all over the country. People brand differently within one county. There's big giant brandings where I think in Nebraska they brand some like 2,200 head of calves or something in a day. Well, they brought the entire town out to get it done, which is fine. I've never seen or done that. But most of the numbers I hear all the time is we branded 300 head. That seems to be the generic number. So that must mean it's a short gather and a full day and then you're done. Okay. The etiquette part for me is that if you're on the ground and you've got a job to do, that's your job. And say, for example, you're vaccinating. If you're carrying 3 guns, you walk to the same place every single time and you do it in the same sequence every time. You know, the person with the shots usually goes first. And then ear marking and ear tagging can be done. That's usually after that. But what I'm getting at, if you're giving the shots, you walk up, bam, 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 give the shots you are supposed to give. Make sure you know if it's sub-Q or IM. And then get out of the way. Don't tally there and talk to the guys that are working on the calf. You go a straight line to where you're supposed to be and a straight line back out of the way. And I mean out of the way. Because what you got to understand is the last thing that happens usually is the branding iron. And I don't mean after everybody's done, it's just towards the end of the process. Because the man with the iron needs to have room to work. And etiquette for me is I keep an eye on the man with the iron because it's typically the boss. And etiquette-wise, you know, you can't help but ride in front of people that are branding. That deal about never riding in front of somebody, it's true, but it happens. It's going to happen. Now me, because I'm old and crippled, I'm in the way on the ground no matter if I'm just standing there. So I've come to the point evidently where the boss wants me to stay horseback. Well, you know, that just tears me up. But anyway, when I'm horseback all day and other people are taking turns branding, the etiquette for me is every time I let a calf up, I ride to the back. In other words, I get behind the ropers that are roping, and I watch them. And if I can see they're starting to get ready to rope, and I can see where they're headed, if there's any way, I'll go up there and help them set up a shot. Because a lot of people that rope, they're oblivious to anything around them. And I think that's really bad taste. And it doesn't take long to figure those people out. So the etiquette part is for the roper that's not roping. He's building a loop and he's watching. And a man's getting ready to rope. He's trying to follow a bunch of calves down the fence, but you know he likes a right-hand shot, so you just walk along the fence and push the calves off the fence, and they'll be right there for him. So that's etiquette to me. And of course the other part is that there's all kinds of brandings. There's a social event where all the neighbors come and it's just really a lot of fun. Well, remember that. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. Don't act like it's all that serious. Now, the other side of the coin is when you brand on a big outfit, usually with a crew, and that's the cowboys on the ranch, okay? Well, it's not a social event. It's every day for a really long time until you're done branding. And then there's the kind of branding that I really like, and that's when you gather 100 pair, throw them in a trap. The next day you put them in a smaller trap, and then you rope the calves, leave the cows in, and go to the fire, and then let them back into the trap they overnighted in so the bull calves can get over it. Well, the odds of them kind of brandings are pretty hard to find now because everybody's in such a big hurry, but just for the sake of knowing, to me. And what you do is, in etiquette wise, if you're running a branding, you count the ropers, figure out how many calves you got, and then you divide it up and say, okay, you rope 25 calves, and then you know, you're done. Well, the way the medicine and the vaccine works out, that's how you calibrate how many calves you've done. Or I've seen really efficient brandings where they just, every time they'll cut 20 calves in a small pen. Well, when those 20 calves are done, that's one round. Okay, so if a guy says just rope one round, then when you get done with them 20, you get off and get out and come back and wrestle or whatever it is you're supposed to do. So I can't be, you know, this could go on and on about brandings. But there's one thing I did want to share with you that's the biggest mistake everywhere, is that people need to understand that if you're lucky enough to get to be with a crew or go brand or enjoy the day, the last 100 feet, when you're going into, after you're done gathering cattle and you're going to go into a corral or a trap, the last 100 feet is the most important part of the whole thing, and that's where it always falls apart. Because everybody gets making noise, or they think they got to be out in front to get something to go through. And what I'm getting at is you spill calves. And it happens. But if you spill 5 calves on 100 pair, then you might as well get another job. Because that's a real irritant when somebody rides in front of calves and knocks them back. Because they'll leave the country. And I'm sure guys that have been around it a lot would agree with me that that's the worst thing you have to deal with. You hate it because it's wrong. And it can be solved by not getting in front of a calf's eye. Now, not getting in front of a calf's eye, what that means is if there's a calf standing over there and you think you need to push the sides up for some reason, it's not you that goes by the calf. It's your horse's head that goes past the calf. So you're yelling and going like this, and as soon as your horse's head passes that calf, it makes that calf hesitate. Now it looks behind it, and if there's a hole, it's leaving. So pay really close attention that last 100 feet, and that's where you find out you can have a good day or a terrible day. And of course, on that joyful note, the Paniolos, they hold a rope and swing a backhand. They go over the head, hold it, 2 hind feet, get their arm in the air, and then go to the fire. And I think that's commendable. It's really, really neat to watch. And they put them in a really small area to get it done. And I've seen Texas brandings where they put them in a long, narrow corral, and the cows are out, and you just simply go down there and heel them and go to the fire, heel them and go to the fire. Just 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet. Well, that's very efficient. And that's what I mean. No matter where you go, the branding's going to be done different. But to me, there's nothing better than a wood fire and 100 pair. Thank you.